The galaxy had changed forever after the Great War. Once a quiet corner of stars and planets on the edge of known space, it was now a place where whispers of humanity carried weight far beyond their numbers. The war itself had been brief but devastating, a clash between civilizations that left entire systems scorched and lifeless. Humanity had emerged victorious, though few dared to call it triumph. Victory came at too high a cost. Billions dead, worlds reduced to ash, and an uneasy silence stretching across light years. On the planet Meridian 7, one of the last bastions of human governance outside Earth, Commander Elias Kane sat alone in his quarters aboard the orbital station EOS*. His eyes scanned over reports from distant colonies, each more troubling than the last. There were rumors spreading among alien species that once viewed humans as insignificant newcomers, that painted them as ruthless conquerors who would stop at nothing to secure dominance. It wasn't true, not entirely, but perception often mattered more than reality. Kane sighed deeply, rubbing his temples. He remembered the day the Great War ended. The final battle above Proxima Centauri had been chaotic, with fleets clashing amidst exploding stars. When the dust settled, humanity stood tall, its enemies broken or scattered. But victory felt hollow when he looked at what they had lost. Entire generations wiped out, ecosystems destroyed, trust shattered. And now, decades later, humanity's name echoed through the stars, not as explorers or builders, but as destroyers. Elsewhere, on the fringes of the galaxy, a young trader named Lyra navigated her ship, the Starling *, through asteroid fields thick with debris from battles long past. Her cargo hold brimmed with rare minerals mined from unstable moons. She was careful never to venture too close to human-controlled territories. Even traders like her knew better than to risk crossing paths with patrols from the unified Earth fleet. Lyra's people, the Valens, had suffered greatly during the war. Their homeworld had been collateral damage in a conflict they hadn't asked for. Now survivors eked out lives on barren moons and forgotten colonies, wary of every shadow cast by passing ships. Yet despite their losses, the Valens refused to surrender hope. They told stories of unity and resilience, vowing to rebuild what had been taken from them. But tonight, as Lyra guided the Starling toward a trading post deep within neutral territory, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. A faint blip appeared on her sensors, an unidentified vessel trailing her at a distance. She adjusted course slightly, trying to lose whoever it was without drawing attention. The blip persisted, growing closer with each passing moment. When the comm channel crackled to life, Lara froze. Unidentified craft, this is Captain Ria Solis of the UEF Patrol Cruiser Aegis *. You are entering restricted airspace. Stand down and prepare for inspection. Her heart sank. Humans. Of all the beings in the galaxy, why did it have to be them? Back aboard EOS Commander Kane received an urgent transmission from Captain Solis. She reported encountering a smuggler attempting to flee into uncharted space. Initial scans suggested the individual belonged to the Valen species, a group still harboring deep resentment toward humanity following the war. Bring them in, Kane ordered, his voice steady but laced with weariness. Another confrontation, another reminder of how fragile peace truly was. Hours later, Lyra found herself seated in a stark interrogation room, her hands cuffed to the table. Across from her sat Kane, his face unreadable. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Kane leaned forward, his gaze piercing yet oddly gentle. "You're Valen," he said finally. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Lyra replied, her voice trembling. "And if you're going to accuse me of smuggling, save your breath. I haven't done anything wrong." Kane raised an eyebrow. "Then why run?" "Because every time one of your ships shows up, someone ends up dead or worse." Her words hung heavy in the air. "We've learned to fear you." The admission struck Kane harder than any weapon could. Fear. That was what humanity had become, a symbol of terror etched into the collective memory of countless species. He thought about the millions of soldiers under his command, men and women who believed they were fighting for survival, not conquest. How had things gone so wrong? "I'm not here to hurt you," Cain said softly. "I just want to understand. What do we need to do to change this legacy we've created?" Lyra stared at him, searching for deceit behind his calm demeanor. Finally, she spoke. "Start by listening. Stop treating us like threats before we even open our mouths. Stop destroying worlds because you think they might pose a danger someday. Treat us like equals." It was a simple request, yet it carried the weight of centuries. Cain nodded slowly, committing her words to memory. Perhaps there was still a chance to rewrite humanity's story. Weeks passed, and Cain returned to Earth to present his findings to the Council of Nations. He recounted his encounter with Lyra, emphasizing the urgent need for diplomacy over force. Many council members scoffed, dismissing his ideas as naive, but others listened, moved by the sincerity in his voice. Among those who supported Cain was Ambassador Theo Marlowe, a seasoned diplomat known for his efforts to bridge divides between species. Together, they drafted a proposal for a galactic accord, a treaty aimed at fostering cooperation rather than fear. It called for joint ventures in technology, shared resources, and mutual protection against future threats. The road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges. Old wounds ran deep and trust wouldn't come easily. But for the first time in years, Cain allowed himself to feel a glimmer of hope. If humanity could learn to listen, to truly hear the voices of those it had wronged, perhaps its name might one day echo differently across the stars. As the accord gained traction, small acts of goodwill began to ripple outward. Trade routes reopened, cultural exchanges flourished, and tentative alliances formed. The galaxy remained scarred by the Great War, but healing had begun. And somewhere, aboard the starling Asterisk, Lyra smiled as she plotted a new course, not away from humanity, but toward it. Change was slow, painful, and uncertain, but it was happening. One conversation, one gesture, one act of courage at a time. In the end, perhaps fear could give way to understanding. Perhaps humanity's name could mean something else entirely.